This is WPBF News 25 at 6, where you always get your weather first. Here's Mike Lyons.
Good evening, everybody. Warm, breezy, and a little bit wet across South Florida this hour. Live weather first Doppler radar still tracking some showers, mostly across Boynton Beach. Rain moving toward the west at about 15 miles per hour. That is your weather first. Now, breaking news.
Well, we begin tonight with breaking news involving 4 Loxahatchee High School students. Good evening, I'm John Shainman.
And I'm Tiffany Kenney. Thank you for joining us. 2 students driving along Seminole Pratt Whitney Road plowed into 2 other students. Let's go straight out to Alexis Rivera for an update. Alexis?
Well, Tiffany, I'm actually told this is not the first time something like this has happened. I actually spoke to a parent of one of the students here at the high school. She says this could be the 3rd or 4th accident in just the past few weeks on this same road. And today, 4 students were involved. 2 of the teenagers were hit by a car as they were crossing Seminole Pratt just after school let out around 3 o'clock this afternoon. The other 2 teens involved in this, they were the ones in the actual car, all students at Seminole Ridge Community High School. Now, the 2 that were struck by the vehicle, they were airlifted to St. Mary's Hospital. One of the victims, we're told, is a 17-year-old girl. She had the more life-threatening injuries as a result of hitting the windshield of the car. The other victim, we're told, is about 14 or 15 years old. At this time, we do not know their exact condition or their prognosis, but that mother that I spoke to said her daughter was in a car accident on the same road just about 10 days ago. She tells us something needs to be done.
This road, Seminole Pratt, is probably one of the most dangerous roads in Palm Beach County. The accident rate is out of control. The speed is out of control. The sheriff's department they don't have enough help out here.
Now, the 2 students that were in the car, they were not taken to the hospital. They are okay. They are actually still out here on the scene. As you can imagine, they did not want to talk to us. At this time, we do not know yet if they will be facing any charges. That's the latest out here in Loxahatchee. Alexis Rivera, WPBF News 25.
The swine flu turns fatal in the U.S., and tonight we're just one step away from being right in the middle of a pandemic. Late this afternoon, the World Health Organization raised its pandemic alert for swine flu to the 2nd highest level, Phase 5. A Phase 5 pandemic alert means a global outbreak of the swine flu is imminent. There's sustained human-to-human spread of the disease in at least 2 countries. It also means efforts to produce a vaccine will be ramped up.
It really is all of humanity that is under threat during a pandemic.
The chief of the WHO is urging all countries to immediately activate their pandemic plans. They're also being told to remain on high alert for unusual outbreaks of flu-like illness and severe pneumonia.
Another big development, swine flu has killed a toddler in Texas. It is the first reported swine flu death in the U.S. The child is from Mexico but traveled here to visit relatives.
I think it's highly likely that the child was infected in Mexico, was non-contagious when he initially came into the state, and then developed the disease.
A state of emergency is in effect tonight in Texas.
The number of confirmed cases of swine flu is on the rise. As you can see, more states are now red, indicating at least 1 person there has the sickness. The Centers for Disease Control says there are now 91 confirmed cases. Arizona, Massachusetts, Michigan, Maine, and Nevada are the latest states to report new cases. There are still no confirmed cases here in Florida, but WPBF News has learned that Palm Beach County health officials are testing some local people for swine flu. Those samples are being sent lab. We've also learned dozens of people statewide are being tested, including 1 man in Orlando. So far, none of the results has come back positive.
Right now, there is no swine flu vaccine, but that could soon change. Researchers at this Missouri facility are working round the clock to get a swine flu vaccine on the market. They actually began working on it before the outbreak. This vaccine would be on pigs to prevent them from spreading it. While there is no vaccine for humans, there is a treatment for it.
But as Cathleen O'Toole reports, the supplies of the drugs are generating plenty of anxiety. Kathleen?
The first shipments of the government's supply of Tamiflu arrived in some spots today, and all states will get their share by Sunday. Still, some people are trying to stockpile the antiviral medicine. It's been bustling all week at Jupiter Drugs on Military Trail. Pharmacists there ordered extra Tamiflu last week. But demand is so high, they are out and have 30 people on a waiting list. Doctors are writing prescriptions for the drug, even though there are no confirmed swine flu cases in Florida.
Well, I've had a few doctors call and just want to know what the situation is, because they're hesitant to give out the prescriptions, but the majority of them, I think, are going along with it.
It's disappointing that still in the medical field, people don't follow what's really been thought out, well thought out and planned. And that's what causes havoc, that, you know, like you just said, when somebody really needs a medication, we won't have it.
Dr. Bush says at this point, most patients with symptoms here don't even need to be screened for swine flu. Only those in close contact with a confirmed case or those who travel to an area with a confirmed case should be. He also says taking Tamiflu needlessly could make the virus resistant to the drug. Cathleen O'Toole, WPBF News 25.
As swine flu spreads, there is a new worry, an outbreak of scammers.
When you see the number of domain names registered in the last 2 days, it's astronomical.
Coming up in just a few minutes, the gimmicks and tricks you need to watch out for.
A 13-year-old Boca Raton boy may have a lot of explaining to do when he gets back home.
That's because Tuesday morning he stole his father's truck, drove it to the airport, and hopped on a flight to California. Ted White is live in Boca Raton where this unbelievable journey began. Ted?
This is a wild story that has all sorts of twists and turns. The boy's father says his son has been fascinated with flying for years. And even though he's too young to drive, he made it out of his gated community easily and he drove to the airport to begin a 3,000-mile trip with the friendly skies. When Dean Weaver woke up early Tuesday morning, he knew something was wrong. His 13-year-old son, Kenton, is autistic and was not in his bed or in the home.
I went outside to see if he was hanging around outside or chasing a cat or something like that. And when I went out there, I saw my car was gone.
Kenton had stolen his father's Ford Explorer.
I thought he would just drive the car and get it out of the complex, maybe drive it up to the Tri-Rail station, park it, and then try to get on a bus or a train.
But the teenager never made it there. In fact, he hopped onto southbound I-95, drove 30 miles, and parked the vehicle on a third level of this parking lot. The boy ended up here at the airport in Fort Lauderdale. He purchased a ticket from Southwest Airlines, boarded the plane, and never looked back. Kenton flew to Chicago for a layover, then ended up in San Jose, California. It's not far from where his mother lives.
I think that he used my credit card information, and I think he probably would have had to use it over the phone. I don't think he has any ID. So I'm confused as to how he got onto the plane.
A spokesperson for the Fort Lauderdale airport says the boy's age allowed him to travel without an adult.
We realized that the boy was 13 years old. He's under the age of 18, therefore he was not required to have any photo ID, able to get through the security checkpoint legally.
Weaver says he's just glad his son is safe, and he knows why it happened.
He wanted to get on a plane because he's fixated with flying. He wants to be a pilot. He wants to work for an airline. He does video games that are flight simulation games.
We put in several calls to Southwest Airlines, but they have not been returned yet. Many airlines have set ages in which children are allowed to fly alone. As for Dean Weaver, he says he plans to have a very long talk with his ex-wife so they can figure out how to keep their son out of harm's way. Live in Boca Raton, Ted White, WPBF News 25.
Now get ready to beat the traffic. Sponsored by Steiger is Going Green. Here's Nathalie Pozo.
We are dealing with 2 accidents along I-95 this evening. Both of them, though, not causing any traffic tie-ups. The first one, southbound 95, just before Glades Road. No roadblock there. Average speeds 56 miles per hour. It's just a tad below the speed limit. And the second one, if you're traveling through West Palm Beach, also in the southbound lanes, just before you hit Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, still seeing a lot of green on our map, which means that traffic is up to speed. We'll leave you now with a live look at Okeechobee Boulevard and I-95. Those delays are also starting to clear out here, but do keep in mind a lot of people are going to be getting off at Okeechobee Boulevard the next couple days. Sunfest kicked off about an hour ago, so also expect some slowdowns in the downtown West Palm Beach area. To beat the traffic anytime, go to our website, WPBF.com.
Again, you may also have some trouble getting around downtown West Palm Beach. Roads are closed as Sunfest 2009 kicks off, and this year it's all about keeping your wallet happy. Bob Kaple kicks off our Project Economy coverage live along the. Hey, Bob.
That's right, John. All the traffic here, foot traffic. What a beautiful night to come out here to Sunfest. It kicks off tonight, 5 o'clock. The gates open, 3:11. The headlining act on the stage tonight. And despite the bad economy, they've actually done pretty well with ticket sales. Bands finishing up last-minute mic checks and vendors stocking their tents as this year's Sunfest kicks off with a concert from 3:11 tonight.
We're seeing that ticket sales are strong, maybe even up a little bit from last year, so in terms of that, we're very pleased.
Corporate sponsorships are down this year, but surprisingly, ticket sales are not.
The recession doesn't have anything to do, it seems, with outdoor festivals. People come here, they want to feel good about themselves, they want to put a hat on their head, they want to drink some beer, they get happy.
With the economy the way it is, people are going to be staying closer to home, not traveling so much, so they'll go to their local events and participate in those.
Organizers have discounted prices on pre-sale tickets to keep things affordable here.
We have watched the economy as everybody has. We've managed our business. We've had to revise budgets and, cut things. But what we try to do is keep the integrity of the festival so the patron isn't going to feel that.
And you are looking live now at Flagler Drive. You can see folks starting to stream in. Expect that to pick up here in the next few hours. The bands come on shortly after 9 o'clock, and we are actually possibly giving away a Ford out here tonight. So Angela and I will be out here on stage at about 8:45 trying to give away that car as well. Tickets $31 here at the door, and the gates, they are open. The Sunfest runs through Sunday. It is a great time out here, guys.
Sunfest organizers aren't just watching out for your wallet, they are also helping you stay healthy. Because of the swine flu outbreak this year at Sunfest, you're going to see lots of hand sanitizer and soap. All the porta potties are outfitted with hand sanitizer dispensers. There are also electronic billboards going up reminding you to cover your nose and mouth if you cough or sneeze, and also to wash your hands often.
Headed to Sunfest? Be sure to snap a photo or two and then send them to us. We want to use your Sunfest pictures on WPBF.com and on air. These are some of your best shots from Sunfest of 2008. You can upload your Sunfest 2009 photos through our new You Local special web section. It's an online community where you share photos, start a blog, and update a profile. And Tiffany, Mike, and myself will be out at Sunfest tomorrow taking our news on the move. Come out and see us and watch as we do live coverage from along Flagler Drive during WPBF News at 4, 5, and 6. So we hope to see you there.
As swine flu spreads, there is a new worry, an outbreak of scammers.
When you see the number of domain names registered in the last 2 days, it's astronomical.
The gimmicks and tricks you need to watch out for. And a flu expert weighs in on swine flu, his shocking predictions for the spread of this disease. Plus, here's what we're working on for WPBF News at 11. Sunfest has something for everyone, and some of it is free, where you need to go first to qualify.
Welcome back, everybody. Beautiful night across South Florida. Even better for some because rain falling across southern Palm Beach County, around Boynton Beach, Delray Beach, Hypoluxo, Ocean Ridge, a few widely scattered sprinkles moving on shore. Still, most of us are dry and pretty comfy. 82 right now at Jupiter Farm, 76 degrees in West Palm. Current temperature at Boca, 77 degrees. You're looking, by the way, at our network of weather stations across the region reporting pretty nice numbers. 79, for example, at St. Lucie West, 78 in Fort Pierce, and 77 degrees, our current temperature in Fellsmere. Overnight, we'll keep things in the 70s, at least along the coastline west of I-95 and the Turnpike. A little cooler. You'll see temps in the low to mid-range of the 60s, but really not many complaints. Partly cloudy skies, mild to steady east wind, about 10, 15 miles per hour, and yes, a stray shower or two. Most of us, though, will remain dry. Then tomorrow, sun and clouds, breezy, kind of like today. Easterly winds 15 miles per hour. High temperature tomorrow, 83 degrees. Now for boating, that steady east wind has been a pain in the neck. Seas running 3 to 5 feet. Again tomorrow, inland waters a moderate chop. Small craft caution in effect for the boating for tomorrow.
President Barack Obama's attempt at better relations with Cuba is getting snubbed by the country's president. Raul Castro says the changes made are minimal and it's not up to Cuba to show the U.S. positive gestures. The Obama administration recently allowed unlimited travel and money transfers for Americans with family in Cuba. Castro wants the embargo lifted.
As swine flu continues to spread, there is a new outbreak to worry about. The number of swine flu scammers is on the rise.
As Jim Abath reports, these people are out preying on swine flu fears. Jim?
That's right, Tiffany. The Better Business Bureau and online security analysts say they have never seen so many websites registered in just 2 days' time. And they say that means those scams are next. Over 250 websites with swine flu in the name have been registered since last weekend. And one online security company tracked spam emails popping up as soon as the first accounts of swine flu were announced. Many of the emails direct you to online pharmacies where you can buy remedies, which aren't really remedies at all. And even when they offer something for free,
there's always the potential for shipping and information from your credit card that could be utilized for personal identity theft. And there will be people out there that'll be looking for personal identity so that they can benefit from it.
Identity theft is the BBB's biggest fear right now. They think they're still a step ahead of the scammers who are now assembling those websites. Now, to avoid scams, the BBB says don't open any emails from someone you don't know, don't open any with swine flu in the subject line, and don't believe online offers for vaccinations against swine flu because they don't exist. So far, they haven't received any reports of malicious emails that can harm your computer just yet. Those are probably still coming. But again, if you don't open up any emails with swine flu or any attachments that say swine flu, you don't have to worry. Jim Abath, WPBF News 25.
Swine flu fears sparked cruise concerns among soon-to-be travelers on the Treasure Coast. As we told you yesterday, Tricia Kerr wanted to cancel her trip with Carnival, which included a stop in Mexico. But we just learned she and her husband are still going, and they leave tomorrow. The reason? Carnival Cruise Lines decided to cancel all Mexican ports of call until May 11th. They will instead send their ships elsewhere. Royal Caribbean and Norwegian are also avoiding Mexico for the time being.
This is threaten hundreds of lives. John Barry literally wrote the book on another vicious virus. The Great Influenza documents the 1918 flu outbreak, which killed more than 50 million people worldwide, 675,000 of them in the U.S. He fears the swine flu could end up being the next great pandemic, infecting 20 to 30% of the world population.
Because nobody's immune system has ever seen this new virus, that the number of people who are going to get sick is going to be vastly greater.
He believes it will take 6 to 10 weeks for the outbreak to run its course through any given community.
Here is a swine flu story straight from WPBF.com. As the sickness keeps spreading and health experts and government leaders try to get a handle on this, statistics show the regular flu is even more deadly. According to the CDC numbers, an average of 36,000 Americans die every single year from influenza. That's despite the wide availability of vaccines. You're going to find more stories just like this one in our special WPBF.com swine flu section. The link is right there on the top of our homepage.
We continue our Project Economy coverage with budget talks in Tallahassee, and it appears compromise is key when it comes to settling the state's budget battle. The first example of give and take, House budget negotiators agreed to reduce proposed spending cuts for state colleges and universities. It's a step toward consensus with the Senate. Leaders there want to leave spending at its current levels. A final vote on the budget is expected sometime next week. A bill to bump up college tuition is sitting on the governor's desk. All it needs is his signature. The proposal to eventually raise tuition at Florida's public universities to the national average cleared the House today. If Governor Christ signs it, universities will be able to raise tuition up to 15% a year until they're on par with other schools.
Another store is shuttered on Palm Beach after just 2 years. Coach abruptly shut its doors this weekend. The corporate office told us the returns at this location were not up to Coach standards. Signs in the store windows direct shoppers to the Coach stores in Boca Raton and Palm Beach Gardens. When businesses close, workers suddenly find themselves back out on the job hunt.
But on the Treasure Coast today, as Meredith McDonough explains, it was all about businesses working together to keep each other, well, in business.
Providing motivation, education, and resources. That's the formula for success at the first ever Treasure Coast Business Summit. Business owners, economists, professors, and motivational speakers on hand at Port St. Lucie Civic Center. The summit is striving to get local businesses working together instead of turning to companies outside of the Treasure Coast. Owner of KPM Communications, Paul Monty, says this summit will point local businesses in the right direction.
It gives you the tools to actually expand your business. Gives you the tools, and I'm not just talking about people-wise. I'm talking about getting into areas that you might not be in.
Unemployment is at 12.8% in St. Lucie County, but one of the economists did say that they expect to see local businesses stabilized by 2010. In St. Lucie County, Meredith McDonough, WPBF News 25.
Health insurance, you already pay for it. Now it's time to make it work for you. Stretching your health dollar to the max is a story you are only going to find on WPBF.com. It is part of our Project Economy promised to you, where every day from now until the end of May, we will feature money-saving stories only on WPBF.com.
Nothing but sunshine and blue skies in your 5-day forecast, but Mike Lyons is thinking some rainy days are ahead. When to have your umbrella on standby. And relief for pet owners trying to travel with Fido, the new airline that specializes in giving your four-legged friends first-class treatment. That's coming up tonight at 11.
Weather first, brought to you by Lexus.
All right, here we go. 5-day forecast. Tomorrow, beautiful sunshine, temperatures in the low 80s, about the same on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Breezy conditions, and from time to time, we could see a stray shower just as we are experiencing now. But for the most part, fairly dry. No significant rain anytime soon.
All right, I guess that brings us to the next question. The rainy season is around the corner. What are the experts saying?
Well, Robert Moeda, National Weather Service meteorologist, had a little briefing today. He talked about the forecast for the upcoming rainy season. He thinks the drought's going to continue through the month of May, maybe into early June. Then the rainy season kicks in, and guess what? He thinks the rainy season could be very wet.
This year, we believe that we'll have a fairly wet summer, maybe even a little bit wetter than normal. When that change will occur, we don't know exactly. Usually starts around the latter part of May, maybe the 3rd or 4th week of May. It could start a little bit later, but again, it's something that we really can't give with any kind of, we can't really tell right now, exactly when that rainy season will start.
So kind of a good news, bad news situation. The bad news, we've got to be on guard for the next 5-6 weeks because the dry conditions are expected. But once the rain starts, probably first week in June, it looks fairly wet in June, July, August, and September.
And we need it.
We certainly do. We'll be right back. Here's a look at the stories making news right now.
2 Loxahatchee High School students are in the hospital after 2 other students driving in a car plowed into them. The crash happened just moments after Seminole Ridge High School dismissed students for the day.
A Boca Raton boy went on an unbelievable 3,000-mile journey. The 13-year-old took his dad's truck, drove to the airport in Fort Lauderdale, where he hopped on a flight to San Jose, California. The teen, who's been diagnosed with a form of autism, is staying with his mother, who lives out west.
There are still no confirmed cases of swine flu here in Florida, but WPBF News has learned that Palm Beach County health officials are testing some local people for the sickness. Those samples have been sent to a state lab. Thanks for watching WPBF News 25.
World News with Charles Gibson is next. To see you back here tonight at 11.